Downstairs. All right, we're back for another episode of the Arguing Brothers podcast, fellas. How y'all doing?
We good.
Up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good.
Today, man, we got a guest. Not really a guest of the show, man, because he's been on here a few times, man. But it's good to have you back on because it's been a minute.
The legend,
the milk, the professor, the professor.
That's right.
You know, I can't see you though, man. Why I can't see him?
I don't know. I'm on here. Y'all can see me.
You always talk about my video feed.
No, it's not the feed. It's not the feed. It's the ping. He ain't on here right quick, man.
Well, he got me pinned. I'm on here.
Everybody pinned.
I can't. Yeah, I don't know why I can't see him on mine. I don't know why, man. But anyway, there we go. Like I said, Professor Lee, the legend, man. Gregory Lee Jr., brother. How you doing? Give me a round of applause.
I'm good, brother. It's all good being down in the south. I don't have to deal with no snow like you guys, but it's all good. But it's about to storm and get a little cold down here, so it's all good.
Yeah, we know when it gets cold in the south, bro. Yeah, we feel like, you know, if it snows, you feel like you lost your mind because you're not prepared for it. You don't have soft for the road. You don't have none of that type of stuff, man. Everything, so it's gonna have to be organically melted.
That's right.
It's just how it works, man. So let's dive into it. I know you got a lot to talk about because we would bring up your Saints, but there's no need for that.
We don't want to be pressed.
We ain't gotta worry about that. Yeah, y'all season over. But hope you do us a solid today. Lord, I hope y'all do that solid. Hope y'all do that solid today.
We're doing no silence for the Falcons fans. Nope.
We know that ain't gonna happen because we know y'all about to get smoked.
The Saints will lose and lose. Y'all about to get what the Buccaneers scored 48 on the Panthers last week. I want them to score 88 against the Saints today.
Yeah, they gonna score 88. You ain't gotta hope. You ain't gotta hope, man. I'm guaranteeing that's gonna happen, brother. That is definitely gonna happen.
They're trying to get Mike Evans' 1,000-yard streak continued to 11. He just needs like 81 yards, so he'll get that first quarter.
It's gonna be a mop, and they're gonna do what they need to do, man. But let's get into the college football playoffs right quick first. Let's talk about it. All right, man. So I want to get your thoughts, and G, you can start us off since you're the guest. What was your thoughts after what happened after the terrorist action that happened in downtown New Orleans? What was your thought on the college football still moving forward with that game happening on that Thursday? Let's talk about it for a second.
Look, it's a tragic situation. I think also the Superdome is usually a very, very safe place. It's usually overprotected. So, yes, you try to be sensitive towards the tragedy in Bourbon Street, but Bourbon Street has less security than what the Superdome brings. So, yes, they just want to make sure they did their sweep. They took a day and a half to make sure everything is good there. But usually at big domes like that or big stadiums, they're usually well secured. Whereas we saw what happened at Bourbon Street, they weren't. It wasn't. It was just as simple as that was an easier target. That on the streets, an easier target than going to an arena. So I like the fact that they delayed it a day. Also, you had a lot of people came in town for that event, and plus, given the stakes of it, the tournament, where could you move it to? Given that it's based on a time schedule, because the next week they got to play. The winner of that game had to play a game next week, so you want to try to have a fair competitive advantage. So unless you decided to move that game to Baton Rouge at LSU, I don't see any other logistics unless they moved it to Atlanta. I mean, but that takes a lot to move an entire 2 football teams and all the stuff. And then, of course, this college football playoff is not trying to lose money and all the tickets that they had to refund. ESPN, always has a big deal in it too. You remember ESPN didn't even want it at 3 o'clock; they wanted it at 7 o'clock, and they lost that battle. So there are a lot of factors in that was considered. I think they reached a good compromise.
What are your thoughts on next?
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, prayers go out to all the families that were affected. It's definitely a tragic situation, but at the end of the day, it comes down to money, and the landscape of college football with the college football playoffs is money. And you got a ton of people in town, spent their hard-earned money, and to cancel it or even move it to Houston or, even the Baton Rouge, it's just the economic impact would have been too big. And I think, New Orleans has, dealt with a lot of tragedy over my lifetime. And what better city to handle it than New Orleans? They've been through Katrina, been through all the hurricanes, and being able to security. And I think they did a phenomenal job. It's definitely unfortunate, being New Year's Eve, a ton of people in the quarters, and just hope they learn from it. I'm sure Super Bowl and NFL are gonna make it locked down where you can't drive nowhere on Canal. Mine, of course, is always locked down, but I think it came down at the end of the day is money. Too much money on the line, not only for the networks, for the city. So they had to play the game, but had they at least moved it a day and played it early, so allow people to, if they had late flights, to be able to get out of town, where it wasn't that big of an impact. But at the end of the day, it's come down to money, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what Greg and Ray said. And then, it's money, and to move it to a different area. Now, these people who paid their hard-earned money to come to the game got to figure out how they got to get there to that next spot, because they don't want they come there to see their team play. You got a lot of college kids who got their money from their parents and things like that, who came to see that game. And two, like you said, New Orleans has been through a lot, and at the end of the day, they figured it out. They got things situated. You hate to see people die. You hate to see people who want to go to a sporting event to enjoy and have a good time, to have somebody just, do something out of the ordinary. Well, out of the way of them just being selfish to hurt other people. That's just out of bounds. And you going and from the way the world is built now, a lot of these events you're going to have to expect that. You're going to have to expect it. You got to be on high alert for everything now. The way the world is being, built now. So I just think that it was an unfortunate act. I think they did the right thing by waiting a day to play, and they played it early. It's 4:00. You know what I'm saying? It did. I mean, at the end of the day, both teams had to play under the same situation. The fans are able to see their team play. I just hope, like now with these other games coming up this week, that they will, have the security, everything set, so nothing else like this can happen again.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think you guys hit all the key things that it's not much you really can do at this point, and you have to move forward because it is a financial impact that would be happening to with moving the games out of there, and it's been devastating for a lot of people. And then I think where, like you stated before, you said yourself, where would you move it to? So you got to move forward. This has been sports. We've been doing this for a while, and it's kind of been the sentiment to move forward. We always got to remind of those people who lost their lives, because this was it's a terrorist act. But we're also, you got to remind that things do kind of have to move forward from those aspects. So let me ask y'all a question. This is the next question up on our list here. With knowing, okay, now we move forward down to 4 teams, the seeding. Start us off. The seeding and the selecting of the college football playoff. How you felt about it? How do you feel that did we get the right matchups? Did we get the teams that we should have seen? Should Oregon not played?
Why they should have reseeded?
Should Oregon not play at Ohio State so early? Should that have been a little bit later?
That should have been reseeded.
Should have been reseeded throughout. Like is Penn State really getting opportunity to kind of just coast through, knowing that they played Boise State before that, Indiana? What are we doing with there? What's going on with that?
Yeah, I think Penn State really got a pass. That's the team who really benefited from this whole bracket,
right?
The whole team bracket. So I look at this. I think they're not going to change it because if they did change it within 1 year, that means they're admitting they were wrong. They don't want to do that. So they're going to ride us out next year the same way. The home and another thing too, like the home teams, won and they played, and then the bye week teams all lost because they weren't in rhythm. So there's something to be said about that too. So if the coaching staff is going to do a better job next year, whoever gets the bye, it was like, okay, we're going to figure out a way to stay in rhythm, because they wouldn't have played for 30 days, 20, 30 days from the regular season. So that's tough too. But I think the reseeding is probably the most important thing for me.
Right.
Yeah, I would say do it like the NFL, reseed the second round. Only thing, Greg, I will disagree with you on the bye week, because it's no different than a bowl layoff. And in the bowl system, they would have even longer layoff.
Yep, true.
So it's like you gotta, figure that out. But at the end of the day, I think the reseeding, I think you have to look at the Power Fives. No disrespect to Boise State, but they shouldn't have been higher than a Notre Dame or higher than a Power Five. They didn't play the same level of competition. I know they won the Mountain West, had a great season, but I don't think they should have been lower than Clemson, for example, right? Clemson had a stronger schedule. They played tougher opponents. Like that type of stuff they got to look at from a committee standpoint. Just don't reward a conference winner just because they're, a conference winner and give them a high, was it a low seed or high seed? How that work? 6 is a high seed, right? So they got to look at things like this, but no system is perfect. It's just year one of the expanded playoff, and I'm sure they're going to look at all aspects to tweak it a little bit. But, nothing's perfect, but I think the reseeding will definitely help a lot of teams. And, reward Oregon, for example, would have having the best season undefeated. They had the short end of the stick at the end of the day.
Man, let me tell you something. It's football, bro. You got to come to play. You paying these coaches all this money. You paying these coaches all this money to have their teams prepared. If you come out there and you played this team, you beat this team by 3 points during the regular season. Dan Lanning, you got to get your team prepared. Y'all told me 2 weeks ago, everybody want to buy. You should want to buy. So guess what? He should have been prepared. He should have had fresh legs. You can't let a team be up 21 down to 28-0 on you, and now you want to complain that you had to buy too long? That's crazy. Which one? You got to have it one way. To me personally, I do agree with Greg.
I always just tough too, Donovan. Look, you deal with 18, 19-year-olds too when it comes to that type of stuff. That's hard. I don't bet on 18, 19-year-olds because they're not dependable. So like the coaches probably prepared. I know Dan Lanning prepared that team, but you still dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-olds too. That's what you're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with.
I agree with you, but at the end of the day, you done played 13 games already, bro. There's no excuse. There's no excuse.
I don't know if they didn't prepare the team. They didn't prepare for Jeremiah Smith. I tell you that. They did not prepare for the level of speed and talent that he's going to display out there.
And this is the thing. I do agree with you, Greg, in the sense of the playing, because Texas played a week before. Every Texas, Clemson, the teams who played a week before, they got back in rhythm because they played a week before. I think that's what hurt. I mean, yeah, you can say that the back in the day the championship games, the Final Four, but you only had 2 games to win and you won. This time you got to win like 2 to 3 games. So I think it's a little bit harder now to get back in rhythm when you have 3 weeks off. And I think yeah. So I'm like, what you got to figure it out. If you getting that bye, you better have your team prepared, or you might go home. You got to be focused. You have to be focused. And I think I do agree with y'all also as well with the reseeding. Whoever win out of that first round, then you go back to reseed of how it should be to get everybody back in line. And like you say, Penn State is getting the benefit of getting the benefit of the doubt because they had SMU, they had Boise State. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
I mean, listen, that's easier said. I think first of all, I think it's the gap between when the playoff starts and the season ends way too long. Like it was literally like a 2, almost 3 week gap between that time frame of when they play their final game or championship game, especially for some of the teams who didn't even play in the championship game. So That's another thing, right? You had like that issue. Then you had the fact that there's another gap. So a lot of times when these teams were coming into these other homes of visitors, they just didn't have enough. They didn't play enough football. And the other team had just came off a championship game, or they played at home, so they kind of played off the crowd, and they were able to dominate those games. Then you go to the next level, right? And outside of the Texas Arizona State game, which was a great game, everything else was a dud, basically, including Georgia and Notre Dame, because of the fact that I think Georgia just couldn't prepare for the physicality that Notre Dame brought that game. So, and we're going to talk about that too, but it's too much of a long gap. I think I would love for them to be more like the NFL in the sense like, hey, it's a real playoff. Once you create the seedings and you move forward, I know you have classes, situations, but most times a lot of the kids are out of school at this point. Like school's on a break. So I'm on a break at this point of the year. So why not have that already scheduled out, hotels scheduled out, have those things handled, and then let's go see football, because it's just too much long of a gap. I mean, I get we get the little bowl games in between there, but I at that point, man, I kind of was spaced out from even watching it because it just took us such a long gap, and then the games weren't competitive, so it made it worse. So,
and then what happens is too, ESPN controls everything. Now you have between the last round and this round another 9-10 day gap.
Yeah, it's another 9-10 game. Then we got literally the actual final game is like January 20th. Why? Right. Why is it so long? Like, why?
Well, that's because the NFL playoffs are doing those weekends. They put it on Monday night. And think about it. The bowl games that were the last round were January 1st and December 31st, which were Tuesday and Wednesday nights. They didn't want to put the semifinals on those nights. They want them on the weekend, which they're on the weekend. That's why 9-10 days, because ESPN runs it. And until that gets fixed and resolved, you got to remember they're playing within the old traditional bowl structure too, and they have traditional days you got to play those games. So, and when those days fall on a Tuesday, Wednesday, they're not going to put the semifinals on a Tuesday, Wednesday next week to make it a 7-day gap. They're not doing that. Not the network, not ESPN, to maximize. Now, when the January 1st falls on a Friday or Saturday, then they will have those 9-day gap. It'll be a 7-day gap because the games will fall on Friday and Saturday. So it's all about ESPN and the broadcast, how they control everything.
Yeah, and that's the problem, man. Like, you have one entity's controlling all the situations, making all the decisions, and the decisions are affecting the fans and the teams, and it's just taking too long. So we're not seeing, like I said before, you've seen a lot of terrible quarterback play. I mean, that's really been suffering. The quarterback play more than anything else has really been awful. So yeah, I'm looking forward to when they finally just get to the final game, and then they may have some more structure to it. And hopefully when they finally have a college football playoff commissioner, whoever the hell that is, they bring a little more insight of what they feel like how the game should be played and structure things moving forward. So I'm one of those at that point where it's enough, man. I'm tired of that. Anybody got any more thoughts on that one? All right, let's talk about the SEC dominance. I mean, we ain't looking too good right now. The bowl games have been looking a little scarce. We've been getting smacked a little bit. I think the Big Ten is 4-1 against the SEC in bowl games. So G, start us off again. Like,
yeah, I've been having this battle on Facebook all the time. Everyone wants
is it over? Are we
no
done? Are we done? Is the current structure of the NIL eliminated with the SEC?
When you won 14 titles in this century, and the next highest is 3 by the Big Ten, ain't nothing over. They won over because they're tired of seeing the SEC winning. That's as simple as that. But these bowl games, as I said to my friends, these bowl games, I don't count these bowl games. You know why? Because the transfer portal, and because the transfer portal, and people are leaving. So it's not the same team from the regular season. Alabama.
But isn't that the reason why they're feeling like isn't that the reason why they feel like it's over for the SEC because of the transfer portal?
Well, it's over from the judging it's over from the judging from bowl games. From that standpoint, I don't care about that. The bowl season is completely glorified exhibitions because the team that plays in the bowl games are completely different from the regular season team. So it's not the same team. Now, from the standpoint from NIL and transfer portal in terms of recruiting, that's different because now every team is, Vanderbilt can get players that usually go to Alabama or whatever. So from that standpoint, it could be over. Where I'm not counting the bowl season records no more because these teams are completely different than the regular season. Only team you can really judge is for the playoff because no one's opting out. They're in the playoff. They're trying to win a national title. Bowl season is a completely different animal. I mean, when Tulane played last week, they butt kicked because they didn't have their quarterback. Their running back didn't really want to play much. That's not the same Tulane team who won 9 games.
But you don't think because like even with Georgia's situation, they normally have a pretty stock quarterback room, but I mean, I don't think starting was it. I mean, I don't know how you can move forward starting the year with Stockton as your starting quarterback next season.
A lot of schools don't have that problem. But here's the thing: people don't talk about in terms of conferences and stuff, and no one talks about it because they're not real about it. Let's just take it from a pure physicality of conference schedules. If you Florida, you got to play back-to-back Tennessee, Georgia, and Auburn. That's crazy for physicality. Whereas a Big Ten team, say Michigan, they get to play Indiana, Purdue, and Northwestern back-to-back weeks. They're not getting pounded. People don't consider the physicality of the game. And when you look at how many players get selected by the NFL from the SEC, it's almost the SEC, not for the Big Ten. The physicality, you were getting worn out and beaten up during the year. Yes, that's why I don't care that SEC should go to 9 conference games. Stay at 8. It's physical. Big Ten, they can play 9 because they don't play those gauntlet weeks. They don't have that back-to-back regimen of tough games. People don't talk about the physicality of the sport. And in SEC, it's real big boy football, and people getting their asses beat down. It's simple as that.
I'm ready to get this round of work. Ray, go ahead next, man.
Go ahead.
It's not, man. I mean, I give Michigan one last year. I think it's just people overreacting because of what we see. The Big Ten has 2 teams in the Final Four. But at the end of the day, bro, the SEC is a bloodbath. Every single week, you never hear anybody say that about the Big Ten. Even with the newer realignment, bringing teams in, right? It's so top-heavy. You look at Penn State, Oregon State, Ohio State, Michigan, you never know when they're going to be good. But that's maybe 4. The SEC is so deep. And even the bad teams on bad years are still giving you hell every single week. You know what I'm saying? Like, then the SEC playing an outer schedule probably tough. But I think it's overreaction, man. Until the Big Ten look like, the Big Ten is probably going to be up there with the SEC the next 2 years. Until you see a string of them winning it, you can't say the SEC dominance is over, right? Just because Michigan won one out of the one Big Ten won last year, and SEC won the last 3 or 4 before that, right? So I think it's overreaction saying that is the dominance 14. Is over.
Nah, they won. Will
the SEC go off and win 5 straight? Probably not. I think them times are over, but to say they're not dominant and the SEC reign is over, I think it's overreaction, honestly.
Man, both of y'all crazy. Listen, man.
Yeah, you crazy.
Man, listen. I'm not going to say their dominance is over, but I think it's coming back down to reality because of the portal. And the teams like Georgia and Alabama who have stockpiled and made sure when they rolled out players, they had a first team, second team, and third team, and they can outlast people. They can outlast whoever you put on the field. That Georgia and Alabama, they have people they can roll out there. They third teams could be playing first team with someone else, and I think it's coming down to depth. And I think that's where the SEC is suffering because you got so many people now are going other places and playing in other places and getting that money. Period. That's just what it is. And I think they don't have the depth no more. Now, do I think they can run off maybe 1 or 2 or 3 in a row? Yes, they can. I think they can. But the reality is now it's going to be a lot harder than what it was back in the day because all you had to do was win 2 games and you won the national championship. Now you might find yourself in a situation where you might have to win 4 games or 3 games, and it's a lot harder. So, as far as dominance, I think they're going to still get the talent in the NFL because of who they are and the conference that they're playing. I still think they'll get the same amount of talent in there. But as far as winning championships like they did before, I don't see it. I really don't see it because you don't have the depth that you used to have in that conference anymore. And you having a lot of great players who are leaving that conference and going to other conferences. And you have players switching within the conference. So I think, like JD said earlier, they need to get a commissioner to get a hold on this thing to put it in a better situation. Because guess what? If you keep it how it is, anybody can win the championship sooner or later. It's gonna be anybody. But I think dominance wise, they're gonna still get the same amount of players in, but I don't see them winning like 2-3 or three in a row or 4 in a row, and them days are over with.
And that's the key. The depth part is the key, Donovan. That and the way they play in the SEC, you need depth. That's why when the SEC team plays a middle ranked school in the beginning of the season, well, to me those teams are even because the other team hasn't been brutalized by injuries, so they can hang in against an SEC school the first, second, third week of the season. Let them go through that kind of gauntlet during the regular season and see where they are physically. That's all.
But Greg, y'all say physically. Well, last I checked, Texas was terrible in the Big 12, and they made it to the SEC championship game. Missouri did the same thing. That's the Big 12.
But Texas didn't have that. You look at Texas' schedule this year in the SEC, it wasn't a gauntlet. They didn't have that gauntlet this year.
But you just said they play an SEC gauntlet every year. So if Texas
just got here. I'm talking about when you look at you go back and look at Georgia's schedule or Florida's schedule or LSU schedule.
Bro, you said the SEC schedule is a gauntlet every year.
I'm not talking. Texas is not. There is no history with Texas and SEC yet, so there's no data.
It don't matter.
But wait.
You can't have it both ways, bro.
Wait. Y'all know each other. Now, Jonathan, I think there's something you missed. There's key detail here. Some context you're missing. So Texas last year, I think they lost one Big 12 game last year to Oklahoma. That's who they lost to. And then otherwise they beat everybody else. They lost twice in the SEC last year, this year, to Georgia. I think they lost. Yeah, they lost twice to Georgia. Yep. But at the same time, their scheduling this year was not as difficult because I don't know if it was their first year. I don't know how they did the scheduling this year. It's still a mystery how they do scheduling. But they actually played majority of their home games were probably their toughest games, and then they did not play every single time. They didn't play Ole Miss. They didn't play Tennessee. They didn't play Florida, but they didn't play Tennessee. They didn't play South Carolina. I'm trying to think who else. They didn't play a bunch of teams. So
it's like Indiana didn't play a bunch of teams this year. And look what happened.
Like they did have a way of getting around.
They did the top teams, and when they played the top team, they got their butts handed to them.
I said the Big Ten was that great.
But I think what G's trying to explain is when you go through a gauntlet of teams is, when you play, more of the top tier players. Like Georgia has a very tough schedule. I don't think that was a real excuse for them losing. But I will be honest that when you sit back and look at their schedule, you got to be real and say, hey, man, that was a really difficult schedule. Now, that probably is one of the main reasons why Carlson Beck got hurt, right? Because then he got hurt in the SEC championship game, going through that golf of that schedule, playing D-lines that come at you left and right, and then eventually get to that point. Now, that's probably doesn't excuse the Georgia Tech performance, right? Like that doesn't excuse that part. That still was a game that you couldn't. It was kind of hard to believe that Georgia played without Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech did have a good year for them overall.
Yeah, but Georgia Tech still moved the ball up and down the field on.
They did. No doubt. They did.
It wasn't no excuse.
The running quarterback gives SEC
the same thing.
A problem.
And the Georgia Tech did the same thing the year before. They almost beat Georgia.
Yep.
So maybe that coach has got a good job, but then they got smoked by Vanderbilt. So what are we talking about? But at the end of the day, all I'm just stressing is that there was a tough schedule. I just think the SEC dominance isn't the same because of NIL and the portal. I don't know if it's NIL because normally, two teams in the South have a lot of money to put there, collective money to put in there. Man, but that portal is eating the SEC up. Like it is. It is. There's no doubt about it that portal, especially from a depth, from a talent. And so you're gonna have to figure out a coach who can navigate around it, navigate in it and around it. And then you need to have a group of body of people that's willing to spend the money. And then like Michigan went and said, hey, we need a quarterback. They got the young kids stolen from LSU. I know y'all were heard about that. I know y'all were heard about that Underwood, that he's not going to be there.
Well, LSU's able to spread that money. They didn't pay the Underwood to other players, and they got more players now.
That's going to be the cautious tale, right? Like, all right, I've never thought LSU don't have that type of money. Let's be real to each other here. Like, let's be honest. They don't have the type of money that dude's going to spend to get that kid. But to be able to take some of that resource and put it apply to other places is the sensible thing you're gonna have to do. So now you're gonna have to figure like if you're a high school kid, you're coming out, man. If you ain't ready to play day one, I'm not giving you a dime because I can't really think of you as somebody I need to put on the roster. Otherwise, in another year, you're not gonna play, and by the year 2, you're gonna transfer out because it is what it is. Like, so that's another issue you're gonna run into these days because of that. I'm pretty sure Clemson goes through that all the time. I mean, in situations like that, that's why they're not using a lot of the transfer portal because their players are transferring out. It's a lot.
Man, that's why Tulane quarterback, remember, he's a freshman. He got nothing. No scholars, barely any scholarships. Got the Tulane, probably had a little bit of NIL money. And he got that 1 year opportunity. Tulane started him, and then everyone saw he can play, and he gets $2 million a year from Duke.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying. Like that's going to become that's problematic, man. That's going to become an issue, and the best coach is going to navigate it. I am anxiously watching the Bull, whatever that last name.
Alabama. Yep,
and could see what is he doing to navigate this, because you're not going to be able to fit a system without having to do. You need to have talent, and yeah, I didn't like the way they looked against Michigan. So I just think like you're going to have these issues where a lot of these are those boosters going to be patient. Like, I mean, like, are they gonna be willing to be patient with you for the coaching staff to figure out the coaching decisions and then get the talent and then go from there, man? So it's gonna be tough. But I mean, Donnie got a point, but Donnie's really just yelling because of Clemson, and and Clemson is
whatever, man.
Clemson's suffering too, so you should understand. You should
LSU plays Clemson. LSU plays Clemson at Clemson at the start of the season next year.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Oh, they play them at Clemson.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a good one.
LSU always open the season. LSU always open the season with a tough game, which is stupid.
Yeah, we there.
No, not all the time.
They
no,
do. They lost the last 4 years opening season. They opened the season this year against USC in Las Vegas. That's like a road game. They opened the previous year against Florida State, and that was a 13-0 Florida State team.
So, didn't y'all lose to Mississippi State the first time?
Listen,
yeah.
No, we don't play SEC schools the first.
Bro, you got that from. You got that from the GOAT. You got that from the GOAT. You got that from Nick Saban in Bama. You got that playing a difficult team in the first game of the season. That's just, I understand. We get it. Anyway, all right, so let's get to the matchups. All right, give me your thoughts, though. Just start us off again, man. Texas gets Ohio State. What's your thoughts on that matchup?
If Ryan Day and Chip Kelly keeps rolling out that playbook, they're gonna beat Texas. I mean, Texas is gonna have to really stop Smith. I mean, look, when Ohio State played Michigan, they made the mistake because it was more psychological because Michigan beat their butts on the defense and offensive line of scrimmage. So Ohio State, instead of going to their strengths to the outside, they want to play bully ball, and what happened? They lost in bully ball. When Ohio State plays stretch the field out, you can't stop them. So it depends on the mindset of what Ohio State. But I think Ohio State, after losing to Michigan, said, you know what? We're not a tough school. We're not a tough team. We're gonna go over the top and we're gonna beat you with our guys. And Warhouse can get him the ball. And look, Texas has good cornerbacks. They got a good defensive line. You never know about Will Howard. Will Howard could be the wrong Will Howard that day. That's why I don't trust 20-year-olds. Will Howard ain't that great, but when he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's terrible. And if he's the bad Will Howard, Texas has a shot.
Yeah.
So it's all on Will Howard. It's all about Will Howard. How much Texas is getting to his face.
That's true.
Yeah, so, for me, I wouldn't try to make. If I'm Texas, you got to make them one-dimensional. Like, it's gonna be hard. What's the number? Boom K. What's his name? What's the other receiver?
Yeah, Boom K.
Okay, yeah.
Between him and then Smith, it's gonna be hard to shut him down. But you want to make Ohio State one-dimensional. You can't let Henderson get going running the ball. Will Howard with the read option game. So Texas has to take something away. And then for Texas, what Quinn Ewers we gonna get? The one we gonna get that we saw last game, or we gonna get the one that damn near getting benched? You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be an interesting battle. Both teams are elite talent wise. But it's going to be the chess match, Ryan Day versus Sark. It's going to be a good one, though. But, yeah, who going to take what away from each team?
I think the Ohio State's going to win. I hate Ohio State, but I think they're going to win.
They rolling right now, dog. I'm not going to even lie. They rolling, bro.
For me, I think it's the front four for the Ohio State. And the reason why I say the front four for Ohio State, the way they got pressure on Oregon, it really forced them out of what things they like to do. And I think if the front four from Ohio State can stop the run and pressure yours, I think Ohio State win easily. Because if Texas can't run the ball and you depending on yours to throw the ball 25 to 30 times, it's going to be a problem. And I think that's what happened to Oregon. They couldn't run the ball because they got behind so fast that they had to throw the ball. They had to throw the ball and they had to play catch up. So if that front four can get pressure on yours without bringing other people down in the box, it's going to be a long day for Texas. It's going to be a long day. And on the flip side, if Texas can't stop them boys from doing what, and this is the thing, if Will Howard can get the ball down the field, that's going to open up the run game. And if Ohio State can run the ball and throw it at the same time, Texas is going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble. So it's going to me, I think it's for me though, for the overall game, I just think everything depends on Ohio State front four. Can they get pressure? And can they stop the run and get pressure on yours? Because if they can, it ain't going to be close.
It's the anomaly's going to be yours, man. Like, I don't think Ohio State's going to put up 30. I think they'll play between 25 to 30 points, if not more. But yours has got to play because he's so inconsistent. Like, I've never seen a quarterback so inconsistent in my life. Like, some games he looks like, man, like it's a good game. Then in the middle of the game, it just falls flat. Like the running game's still going, but he's struggling to make those throws. Even the Arizona State game, it's 24-0, 24-8. They're rolling, and it just stops. Like, right, and
that's coaching on Sark.
That's coaching on Sark too, because I think he kind of pulled the dogs off a little bit and try to just manage the game and allow Arizona State to get going. They start making some plays. They got the touchdown with the running back pass, and it just opened the floodgates. And they got back in the game. But it's even the Clemson game. They were up by like at least 20 points, and then Clemson started scoring. And it just stopped. And at one point it was 31-24. Right. So it's just one of those things that I don't know what it is about their game plan. It just gets stagnant. It just stops. People start figuring it out. I don't know if it's him and this is play, because even the Georgia games, they're up and they're up by 10. And he just starts playing, I don't know, whatever, like he just starts playing down to the competition, and then Georgia make a comeback. It's something about him. I don't know if he's trying to play too perfect because he know he got that madness in behind him, but I don't know what's going on. But he needs to know they're not taking him out. Like, if they ain't took him out yet, they would have been took him out. Like, they'd have been with the Manning. They'd have been with the Archie. Archie ain't replacing you. They're gonna live and die with Quinn Ayers. And so I just, at this point, man, like, I would love to see dude just play a good game, because I want to see a good game. I don't want to see Ohio State win anything. I don't like Texas at all, but I don't like Ohio State worse than Texas. So I don't want that fan base to be happy. I don't want nothing about them. I want them to lose again. I want them to really be mad at Ryan Day, so that when he leaves and they stink it up, everybody just laugh about it, because that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to leave. They're going to go back to being Ohio State, you know what I mean? This 9-3, 10-2 type team, lose, and everybody's going to be happy again. The rest of the world, we're tired of them because they're complaining about winning. They're like, so, which I do understand. But I'm just tired of them. So, but if he plays a good game, they have a really good shot to win this game. But man, if he plays like I've just seen him just, I don't know, just bouncing around, just not really, it seems like he just doesn't. He goes through this lulls in the game. He's not hitting the receivers. He's overthrowing them, underthrowing them, or just missing wide open players. It's gonna be
I don't know, like when Sark gets his big lead, I feel that he's trying to save plays off his playbook. So, you put tape on those plays and save them for the next week. Like, because sometimes they got new wrinkles now, so they're not trying to show their cards to their opponent. So why waste it? And the game got under control.
But if you're Shark though, and I mean Shark is a great play caller, and could be considered one of the best ones, especially ever. Because I watched him when he was at Bama. He knew exactly how to tag teams, but he wasn't scaling back then. So, I mean, at this point, it's 4 teams left. And whether they know what you're doing or not, you need to bring it because otherwise the challenge is going to be, can you deliver when you need to deliver? And we saw him last year where he had an opportunity to beat Washington.
Yep.
And they collapsed. Right? So they had a better second half, but they ended up losing anyway. At some point, man, like he's got to be able to call a complete game and be able to get this team over the hump. And it's going to be a challenge. He's going against a team that's a juggernaut. Where's the game at? Where's this game at?
That's the Cotton Bowl. That's the Cotton Bowl.
The Cotton Bowl.
It's the Cotton Bowl. So he has no excuses. It's going to be loud.
At home.
You are at home. So no excuses. This is the game that I need to see him take it to the next level and win that big game. Because your fan base should be there, strong, ready to support. So yeah, I really want to see. I don't want to see what's going to win though. I am
home game. Yep. So
yeah, home game. So I'm over them. I am over Ohio State and their fan base for sure. Like I'm tired of them now. So Shark, man, do me a solid. You know what I mean? Do us a solid.
The other game, Penn State, Notre Dame.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a tough battle. The quarterback for Penn State is good, Aldred, but the key guy is number 44. That guy is a beast, and Notre Dame's going to try to contain him. The battle of the two black coaches to go to the national title game. So I'm not a Notre Dame person. I'm not the biggest Penn State person. But Penn State has not won like the real big game against a real top competition. That trend will continue. I think Notre Dame will win this game. I just think Notre Dame has the momentum, and I think you saw how Marcus Freeman just really outcoached Kirby Smart.
Mm-hmm.
It was a masterclass.
1,000%.
So I see Marcus Smart doing that to James Franklin. I mean Marcus Freeman doing that to James Franklin.
Mm-hmm. Let's give Freeman a lot of credit. Like he has turned Notre Dame like more of a physical team. Like we never saw that with the old regime or at Notre Dame. When they got to the playoff, they would get their ass beat in the big tough games. So Freeman has definitely changed the culture in Notre Dame, making a more physical team. Now the pressure is on Franklin. We've always talked about it, him winning these big games, and this is a big game. Playing Indiana, playing Boise State, that pressure wasn't there. But now that you're playing an elite team like at Notre Dame, the pressure's on Franklin to get his kids ready. Hopefully, call for Penn State can come back and play. But if I'm Penn State, I am not letting Notre Dame get comfortable running the football. Riley Leonard, you have to win this game. If I'm Penn State, I'm saying you're going to have to win this game and show me if you're good or not. And that's what Penn State has to do. But I think at the end of the day, I still think Notre Dame has a little bit too much for Penn State. And I think, Franklin going to come up small again.
Man, and I agree with everything y'all said. I think for me, like you just said, Ray, Riley Leonard got to beat me. He has to beat me. And I'm talking about from throwing from the pocket. Because he's not a great thrower. And I think if Penn State can keep him in the pocket and make him throw the ball, then I think the game would be a lot closer. But I just think James Franklin is the issue with Penn State. Let's go back to the Boise State game. It's 3rd and 1. You can put the game away. You out here throwing the ball. You up. Why are you not running the ball? Your players been getting 4 and 5 yards a pop, and you throwing the ball on a 3rd and 1. Why? And you wonder why he doesn't win the big games. Because in crucial situations where it's an easy call to run the ball, he throws the ball. And I'm like, dude, you have to make better decisions within the game. And I think that's where Marcus Freeman is going to outcoach James Franklin again, because it's going to become a point in that game where James Franklin got to make a decision, and he's going to make a dumb decision, and Marcus Freeman going to capitalize on it, and Notre Dame going to win the game. Because he's done it all year. He's just been so blessed in this tournament right now that you had Boise State and you had SMU. You had SMU at home and you had Boise State, who was they was in the game because you kept them in the game. And I think his bad decisions with an in-game strategy is what's going to hurt them, and Marcus Freeman going to capitalize on it.
I guess I'm the only person that think this is. I think it's a James Franklin game. I think it's going to be his game. First of all, number one, kudos to both brothers for being two black men that are in the college football Hall of Fame. I mean, college football, playoff. And now we have an opportunity to maybe have our first black head coach to win the National College Football Championship, which I would love to see. That's what I would love to see. You know, I'm not a fan of either team. I would love to see one of those brothers win it. That would be just awesome. That I mean, just for just the black culture, especially when it comes to black coaches, that'll be awesome too to make that type of history. I know Dion was talking about it, so I would love to see one of them do it before that, because that means what would Dion motivation be then? So that's a different story. But I would like to see what happens when that goes forward. Now to the game, this is a James Franklin game. Here's the problem. This is what I thought with Georgia. I think I would text you during our conversations. I'd be like in a group chat, Riley Leonard cannot throw out of the pocket. Like he couldn't do it at Duke. He's from Alabama. He kind of struggled in high school, but he's a superior athlete. But he cannot. So what Notre Dame did is make a lot of the distance short as far as like play by play. So it's like 3rd and 2. That's the challenge they have, 3rd and 3. And he will run to get those first downs. Here's the thing, though. Penn State's DNs are good. They are going to be really getting after him. And this is going to be a defensive battle. And where I feel like the challenge where it can be for them is I think that it's going to be who's going to have better quarterback play. And even though I think Notre Dame has an elite secondary, the one matchup they're not going to be able to win is the tight end. The tight end for Notre Dame is going to be the equalizer. He's going to be the problem. And I mean, not the tight end for Notre Dame. Penn State. And the fact that Penn State can run the ball really well. That's something we cannot forget, how well they run the ball. They punished Boise State. They just didn't beat them. They punished them with running the ball. I think both backs had over 75 yards rushing. So I think this really is a James Franklin game, right? Because both teams have defined the odds. They're in there. Let's not act like Notre Dame's, outside of Georgia, their route wasn't the hardest. So we're at that point where, like, I think this is the game. I think this is the game where he has the front four to win that game. And I think I think he's going to be a shell. I don't think he's not going to bring much of anything. And if Notre Dame can't run the football, it's over. Right, but they do have an elite defense, especially in the back end. But like I said, the one matchup that physically I feel like is going to be a problem is stopping the tight end for Penn State. I think the kid is just too big, strong. I wish they diversify their game plan a little bit more, go to the receivers. But I think he will be a natural problem in this game. So if I had to pick, and we can make a pick real quick, I got Penn State this game.
Hey, James. But, James, the only thing is, it ain't the fact that 44 ain't the guy. It's just that James Franklin, when he get in certain situations, he make dumb play calling.
Well, I don't think he makes the calls. I think at this point, Franklin's just, a face. He does. I don't think he's making that call. But I do think that I get what you're saying. I think his teams just play small against certain teams, and that's the only fear I have in the championship. If he makes it, if they're going to get there, they stay Ohio State or Texas, and they get ran through, because he just doesn't do a great job, in my opinion, at that level of getting his team mentally prepared. I think he's had the team that has the physical talent. I think mentally it just don't be always in the game, and that can be an issue, especially when it comes to that. I just think, like, for me, I do think that they have a pretty good shot to beat Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame, from an offensive standpoint, just don't scare them.
Yeah,
I just don't see. I don't see. They're not like Oregon, or in the games they've lost was Oregon and Ohio State, and both quarterbacks shredded them on the back end, and you could not get pressure on them because they had the good O-line and they had the quarterback play that just outplayed them, and so they couldn't do anything to that. I don't see that with Notre Dame. I think this kid he's good. But I just don't see where he can hurt them throwing the football. He's gonna have to be efficient to the T, right? I think the problem with Georgia just couldn't move the ball. And drops. Let's be real. They dropped the ball a lot. So I don't know. Any more thoughts on this? All right, man. Let's get to the NFL. Let's go to our NFL discussion. All right. So MVP's race close. You know, we've all watched it. We saw Lamar last night. I'm not sure if he solidified it, but just give you the candidates here. We got Lamar Jackson, we got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. I don't think Joe Burrow's gonna be there, but then we got my man Barkley, right? So G starts off again. What's your thoughts on MVP race, and who is your MVP for this season in the NFL?
It's tough because for me, it's between Lamar and Josh Allen. You know, my definition of MVP is who's the most valuable to a franchise. What would their record be without those players? And if you don't have Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, I'll say Josh Allen with the Bills, you probably only win 5 games. Lamar, you probably same thing. They got Derrick Henry. You know, Saquon Barkley, he has an offensive line now with the Eagles. So the Eagles, they can run the ball with a decent running back and still get 1,500 yards with a decent running back because they got a great offensive line. As much as Saquon has done it for them, he's not the most. They could go without Saquon and still win. They did that previous years. So it comes down for me was Josh Allen, who don't have the only weapon he really has on offense is really James Cook, the running back. The receivers are serviceable, they're decent. But the one thing you see the numbers, you compare the numbers. Josh's numbers is a little bit inflated because they've incorporated every time they get down to the 5-yard line, they just give the ball to Josh Allen and he gets rushing touchdown. They do the tush push now. So his numbers are a little bit more inflated in terms of the touchdowns output. And his team is the second best record. So, but didn't the Bills lose to the Ravens?
They did.
Sure did. They got smacked. They got smacked bad too.
So Lamar. So there you go. That's my tiebreaker. Lamar wins because of that.
Okay. All right.
MVP. I think Lamar last night. It's hard to not give an MVP, man. For 5,000 all-purpose yards, 4,000 yard passing, almost 1,000 yard rushing, over 40 TDs passing. I just think, just too much to not give it to him, man. Even though Josh has had a phenomenal year, he has not turned the ball over like he's done in the past. And he no longer has a number one receiver and still putting up, I think he almost got 40 touchdowns too with the 12 rushing that he has. But I just think Lamar is too much this year, man. Over 5,000 yards, breaking Michael Vick's rushing record is just too much. And his team is winning. But yeah, I think it's Lamar. And then a close second, Josh Allen, and then Joe Burrow.
Man, well, according to Greg's definition of MVP, I'm gonna give me Lamar, but then I'm going with Jalen Daniels. According to Greg's definition, who means the most?
Hold on, rim shot. Boy, cut it out, man. Hold on. Stop being a homer, bro. You being a homer now, dog.
Hold on. He said according to Greg's. I said according to Greg's definition, I got to get Jalen Daniels second. Man, the Skins wouldn't won no games without Jalen Daniels this year. We wouldn't have won nothing. We wouldn't have won no games. We'd have been horrible all year without this dude. We'd have had a whole bunch of quarterbacks. But this dude has got us over the hump in a lot of games. I mean, let's be honest. According to Greg's definition, what the MVP is, we wouldn't have won no games.
Say, bro, you've been a homer right now, dog.
All day.
Nobody's even talking about getting on MVP race. Man, stop.
All day, nigga, all day. Nah, but on a serious note, though. On a serious note, Lamar deserves it. Lamar has done, exceptional with Derrick Henry. He did it before Derrick Henry got there, but with Derrick Henry being there, he still put up 4,000 yards passing, over 4,000 yards passing. Over 40 plus TDs. He had just only 5 interceptions all year. 4 interceptions all year. So, it's like he got receivers now that can catch the ball and get out on the field. He's doing what he has to do to get this team over the hump. I mean, Josh Allen had a great year, but Josh Allen threw for like what 36,000 yards. 3,600 yards. I mean, come on. And Joe Burrow is, to me, I would take Joe Burrow second over Josh Allen. I just would. I would take Joe Burrow from where they started. Now, don't get me wrong. He's not the reason why they're losing, but the quarterback got to get you over the hump. The quarterback has to get you over the hump. But for me, you give me Lamar, give me Joe Burrow, then Josh Allen. Period.
Yeah, I'm with it, but I think it's MVP 3. But I think Josh Allen do have a real chance of pulling this out. I'm sure he's not playing today because they don't have to play.
No, he's going to start and
because I think he's trying to keep the record, right? He has a history record of I think he has consecutive starts. But I just don't. Outside of that, I mean, I don't see anything that he's done that has alluded that he's outplayed Lamar. But I do feel like there is a exhaust as far as the voters with Lamar, being that Lamar hasn't had the playoff success as everybody else. So I think that may be thought of, it shouldn't because it's a regular season award. But I think because Lamar has not done so well in the playoffs, that people may go with Josh Allen this year. But I mean, that's the only reason I can consider why you would pick Josh Allen. I mean, Lamar made history last night. I think he's at 4,800 total yards, over 40 plus touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The notion that he wasn't a passer, we're starting to see he is a passer. He can pass the ball well. He can read defense as well. He's done all the things you have. And I get it. We always want to say they had Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry has had 2,000 yards as a running back, but I think this has probably been his highest paid, run per average that he's had ever. I think he only had 325 carries, 1,921 yards. This is the most touchdown he's had in the season because he has some passing, he has some receiving touchdowns. That all comes from the impact of Lamar. So he should have had one yesterday. I don't know why the hell Lamar flipped that ball like that. But anyway, it was just one of those things where you're starting to see that a guy is coming to his own, and hopefully it's just not Lamar fatigue that keeps him.
Well, that's what happened. That's the media. The
media fatigue. So, Lamar. Because like I said, him not being able to win those big games will become an issue for most people. They're like, okay, I'm not going to vote for him because he's not. They're not thinking about that. This is a new season, new situation. They're still thinking about last year and that meltdown against the Chiefs. And
that was coaching's fault for only running the ball 6 times.
We definitely can talk about that part, but still at the end of the day, the expectation that Lamar was going to go out there and beat the Chiefs. They act like he's going to beat him by himself. So, but and then the simple fact that look, you got to give Josh his credit. He has done well. He has not really had a premier receiver. So Coop, he came in mid-season. And then you got to but he's also had a running game this year. The kid from Georgia has run the ball really well there. He's got 2 running backs who have been very dynamic this season. So, I like, but my pick, if it was up to me, it's Lamar. It's Lamar for sure. All right, next up, Jesus start us off again. Lions, are they going to win the Super Bowl? Do you got them still an opportunity? Can they get to the bowl at least? What's their chance to win the Super Bowl with all the injuries?
They get the defense back. I mean, they're getting Anzalone back today, so that'll help them out. They'll get Carlton Davis, I think, back for the playoffs. I think they'll get everyone back for the playoffs except for Hutchinson, and that's not to the Super Bowl. Look, the Lions is a great story. If they get home field advantage, if they get home field advantage, it'll be tough to go through Detroit. And I think Detroit will get to the Super Bowl. I mean, they've learned their lessons. Now the question is, will the head coach be more strategic about his going forward and 4th down a lot? Go get the points. Sometimes you go get the points. So it all depends on what the head coach does. I still think the Lions get to the Super Bowl. I mean, I think Philadelphia, a wild card because of Sirianni, the head coach. So that'll be the next question when we get to that. But I still think the Lions will get to the Super Bowl. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they got a great chance. I say maybe if I had to give a percentage, probably the 80% chance. Because they're one of the few teams that can beat you any way you want to be beat. If you want to win a shootout, they can beat you in a shootout. If we want to grind it out games with the running game, they can beat you with the running game. Now, the wild card is I know Montgomery got hurt a couple games ago, so hopefully he's healthy, and getting that bye for the first round will be key for him. But I think their chances are great for getting the Super Bowl because they got a dynamic passing game, and they run the game is elite with Montgomery and Gibbs. They got everything they need to win. Their defense is just good enough. Of course, you know, they picked up Darius in the trade that can help offset Hutchinson missing, but I think they got a real good chance of going to the Super Bowl this year. This is one of the best years to get it done.
Yeah, I think this is their best year to get it done. I think for me, it comes down to them getting that home field advantage. Because I think if they have to go on the road and Jerry Goff have a night like he had against Houston Texans, it's going to be over for them. Because the teams that he's going to play now, the Phillies, the Minnesotas, teams like that, Green Bay, for instance, you know, on the road, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. You can't turn the ball over 5 times and thinking you're going to still win, especially in the playoffs, because from a defensive standpoint, everything changes. Everything changes in the playoffs, and you're going to have to be able to run the ball. You're going to have to be able to make certain throws at certain times in the game to get you over the hump. And like Greg said, Dan Campbell is going to have to be strategic in a lot of things that he do because now you're on the road as to being at home. And so I just think that they can't. I give them a 60% chance if they get the home field advantage. I think it goes down if they got to go on the road because a lot of things is going to change on the road. And I think everybody knows what Dan Campbell going through. He's going to take those chances. But if you don't take the point sometime, you're going to end up at the house. Because if you don't get it, another team go down and score, that's a 10-point swing. So you got to make sure that you do what it takes to get to the Super Bowl and win it, but you got to get through those strategic situations. So I give them a 60% chance.
Well, let me start. Let me re-ask that question. Is tonight, and we go across real quick. Is tonight a must win?
It's for the Lions. Yes, it's a must win. We're gonna pick them later. Yeah, it's a must win for the Lions. If they win the Super Bowl, they got to win tonight. Yes,
you got to win tonight. Okay.
Nah.
Super Bowl March begins tonight. Winning at home.
No, I don't think it's a must win.
I think it's a must win because I'm telling you, Detroit going on the road without all of their defensive parts, even though they're getting some people back, but these dudes haven't played in a couple of weeks. And I think if they got to turn around and play next week, it's going to be a problem.
They got to play next week on the road, and they'll be on the road against
on the road. Exactly.
Damn. So you don't think it's a must win, right?
Nah, like I said, I think the way their team is made up, bro, they can win on the road. They're 14-2. So it ain't like they're not winning on the road. Even down, I mean, you talk about the Houston game. Goff had 5 interceptions?
But Ray, you're not gonna play a Houston type offense when you go on the road in the NFC. If you got to go to Philly or Green Bay or one of those teams who can throw the ball and take those 5 turnovers and turn them into touchdowns, you're not gonna get that same reaction that you got in the regular.
But you act like Houston. But you act like Houston is a slouch team.
They struggling this year.
They are this year. Houston's offense.
They had a lot of injuries. Don't get me wrong, but they got it.
You telling me that Houston offense is better than Green Bay offense, is better than Minnesota offense, is better than Philly offense? That's what you're saying.
Better than Minnesota offense. A healthy Houston team. I take them over Green Bay.
Man, you crazy.
If the Vikings, if the Lions are a 5 seed, they're playing Baker Mayfield.
They're winning that.
Hold up. And Baker Mayfield beat them. They beat them this year.
And it's the playoffs now, bro. It's a whole new different season.
And games in Tampa. And if it's raining in Tampa, okay, we'll see.
They can run the ball. Yeah. Tampa ain't got no juggernaut defense.
I know.
They beat Detroit. They beat Detroit.
You want to take chances against if Baker Mayfield gets red hot, you want to go against a red hot Baker Mayfield. That's what I'm saying. You want to take no chances with that. You take no chances.
Turn the ball over 5 times, right?
Huh?
You're not gonna turn the ball over 5 times and think you're gonna win that. You're not gonna turn the ball over 5 times and think you're gonna win that game, bro.
Of course, you cannot turn the ball 5 times, but at the end of the day, they got
now they play the Falcons, then they can win on the road. That's not a big deal.
No, they're 14-2. They can win on the road. I don't think they need home.
I just want to be in the playoffs. I don't really want you can say what you want to say, but I just want to be in the playoffs. But hey, listen, I agree with everybody's sentiment. This I do feel like tonight's a must win. I think they do need to win this game just because of who they are and because of Dan Campbell and the season he's played all. He's gambled in all different levels. So I think this is one of those games that he should. If you're a game that you want to put all your chips in, tonight's the game, right? But they haven't lost a game on the road, so winning on the road is not going to be new to them. And you're going to have to be a team that has to put up a lot of points against them because they're going to stretch your defense out. But I do think tonight is a must win just for the city of Detroit. I think it'll be a rocking if Detroit wins anyway, right? So I just think that would be, but I think it's a must win for. I think the way currently because of the injuries, I think the Vikings probably be more prepared to win on the road than the Lions. But I agree. I do think tonight's a must win game. Right, I do think that, right, and when it comes to the Super Bowl, I think they have a shot. The injuries haven't slowed them down. They actually scoring went up ever since Montgomery got hurt, but they have a legit shot on, getting there because of their offense and how prolific it is, and they have a great play caller in Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn is a great defensive play caller. He's been basically playing with third, fourth string players, trying to get them prepared to play against some of this top of league talent. So, but they got a shot. Absolutely. Yeah, they got a shot. Are they the favorite? No. But before the injuries happened, I thought they were a favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, so all right, let's get to the Chiefs. The Chiefs, man. Are they still the favorite?
In order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And as long as you got number 15 and you got Andy Reid who outsmarts everyone, like Andy Reid, since Belichick left, Andy Reid is the smartest head coach in the league in terms of knowing the nuances of the game, understanding pressure points of the team and the opponents they play. He exposes it. And don't let Randy Reid get 2 weeks to prepare against you. It's still the Chiefs. I mean, unless 15 is really hurt, if Chandler Jones is out, because that's why they're not, they're on a bye. They got their bye week. And he had a calf injury. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Because what's been undersold is the Chiefs' defense. They've been dominant.
Yeah, they have been.
So 15 doesn't have to score 30 points a game. He could score 23 and win because the defense is that good. So the Chiefs' defense is excellent, and they're still the favorites. They're still the Super Bowl favorites, and they're going for history, and they're gonna try it as hard as they can to get that history.
Yeah, it's hard to count Patty out, and I think they're getting healthy at the right time, getting Hollywood Brown back, picking up D-Hop in the trade. Xavier Worthy now can move to the slot, use his speed, getting Pacheco, getting his feet back under him. They're getting healthy and getting loaded at the right time. So I will say I think they got a chance to three-peat, man. They're getting healthy at the right time, which is, peak for Patty to get all the weapons.
Yeah, I think they still the team to beat. And for a team to not score 30 points in a whole NFL season and to win 15 games, that's crazy. Because if you look at other teams who didn't score 30 points, they below 500, like 3-12, 3 and whatever. So it's what Andy Reid has built when he left Philly and what he's built out there in Kansas City is crazy. I mean, his in-game strategy, the things he's done, and let's give Spagnuolo a lot of credit for what he's done with that defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's got that defense playing at a high level. They send a corner away. They bring in McDuffie. He's the guy now. You know what I'm saying? They send a guy to Tennessee. Oh, we don't need you. We can bring somebody else in.
The Jarrett Sneed. Yep.
You get rid of the Darius Sneed, and then you bring in McDuffie, and he's doing the same thing. And it's like they bringing in people to fit what they need to do. Now, what's going to be interesting is this. If Miami loses today and they release Big Boy Campbell, where do he sign? Because if they release him and he goes to Kansas City, so now you got Jones and Calais Campbell in the middle. That takes on a whole bigger thing now. So I'm just saying, from a standpoint, you got to beat the team. They're the team to beat. And until Andy Reid and Mahomes get tired, I think they get there again.
Yeah, listen, they are the team to beat. They got some formidable opponents this year. They really do this year. I think in the past they've had it, but this year, you got to go to KC. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. It's gonna be nasty weather, man. You got it's a lot of things that are going to impact these teams, and then it's just Kansas City, so it's going to be hard to beat them. I mean, I think last year was probably the best opportunity because they were like the 4th and 5th seed. They had an early road game. I think they played the Buffalo Bills early. Then they came back. They played Miami, Buffalo, and then ended up playing the Ravens in Baltimore. So they were strictly on the road. But a lot of this is going to depend on the health of Mahomes. How healthy is he? Right? Defense is playing well, but if you can't score, and you depend on Carson Wentz, you're not gonna make it far. So if he's really truly healthy, the ankle's healthy, he's good for the playoff run, man, they're the favorite. Long 15s on the field, they're the favorite. They're getting their weapons back. They're playing. Holly Robinson playing good football. They're the favorite, man. So we'll see moving forward. All right, next up, what coach right now is under the most pressure to win in the playoffs?
Sirianni and the Eagles. Go one and out, you're done.
Okay. I didn't think you'll go with that angle, but all right, okay. Sirianni, okay.
That's a good one. But for me, it's John Harbaugh. There's too many times you didn't have top 3 seeds over the last few years. You're about to probably have a 3-time MVP. It's can't keep coming up small, Ravens.
Okay.
I think it's the guy in Buffalo.
McDermott.
Yeah,
I was gonna say him too, but yeah.
I think the guy in Buffalo, because everybody been screaming Josh Allen. You got rid of Stephon Diggs. You brought in a group of receivers. Cook is running hard. You got everything flowing. Your man Joe Brady got the offense looking sweet. He should be the MVP. Everybody screaming Josh Allen. Let's get it done. Because this is the thing. Everybody get on Lamar, but Josh Allen has done the same thing.
Yep.
They're in the same bucket. But you excuse Josh Allen, but you kill Lamar for the things that he's done. And I have an issue with that because, one, what has Josh Allen won?
No, you ain't got no issue with it because you don't never say nothing in the chat when I be defensive. No. You don't say nothing, man.
The only thing I would push back on, the only reason I would push back on that, much is given, much is required. Lamar is a 2-time MVP. He has to do it, though. Like, you don't be the MVP and put up all these.
But you're saying that like you're saying that in the same stance, knowing that him and Josh Allen both came in the same draft. And Josh Allen was the first round. Hold on. Josh Allen was the first round 7 pick. Lamar was a 32nd pick. And so when we all looking at picks and looking at all that, it's like, if you look at my man in Tampa Bay, he was number 1 pick. Nobody forcibly talks about why he has not achieved the way he's achieved. He's underachieved. So what's the difference?
The MVPs is the icing on the cake.
Because dude got better.
Now
he has to live a certain standard. Why don't have to say, why you don't have to say standard to him though?
Just the same way we kill Peyton Manning winning all those MVPs.
Everybody. Why we don't have the same standard? Top 10 picks. Josh Allen's a top 10 pick. Why we don't have the same standard for him?
Draft picks, I don't care where you draft. It's all a crapshoot. But when you win the MVP, same with Aaron Rodgers.
Come on, man.
He has come up small and won all these MVPs. Lamar's held to a different standard when you're a multiple-time MVP. Held to a high standard. You should get your team over the hump.
Hold on, Ray. I don't care if you bought no MVPs. If you're a franchise quarterback, it
does matter. It does.
Hold on.
It does matter.
If you consider a franchise quarterback, right? That trumps that MVP talk because everybody's not going to win the MVP.
Boy, you crazy.
Hold on. Everybody's not going to win the MVP. I don't care what sport. Everybody's not going to win the MVP. So you mean to tell me if Josh Allen doesn't win a Super Bowl and Lamar don't win a Super Bowl, you're going to say, well, Lamar won 2 MVPs and Josh Allen didn't, so that's why I'm going to scrutinize him more? Are you serious?
Yes. All sports, dog.
Y'all be killing me with that.
Y'all be killing me with that. As an MVP and multiple MVP.
Bro, but y'all be killing me with that. Y'all be killing like you literally be acting like Lamar because he's successful and he's done great things for his team and individually, right? He's got to be held to a different standard to the same dude who's had even more success. Josh Allen from a not from a division standpoint, they damn near won the division every year. Yeah, he gets bounced out all the time. Like what's the difference? What's the difference? He gets bounced out of the playoffs all the time.
Is he a franchise quarterback? Yes, he does get some blame.
He's a franchise quarterback. Why is he not winning more?
Because they're not the MVP. That's why you're going to get hit.
Come on, man. Come on, bro.
In basketball with LeBron. Until he won that championship, people were killing him because he got all these MVPs. He's not getting his team over the hump. Same way with Aaron Rodgers.
Man, basketball, football.
Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVPs.
And failed.
LeBron got it. Basketball, football, 2 different sports. Number 2, like
from an MVP standpoint, Aaron Rodgers. So we're talking football. Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVPs, right? Or something like that.
Yep.
Small. Every time he get in the playoffs.
Yep.
Peyton Manning, until he won the Super Bowl, small because he's an MVP. He held a different standard, dog.
But MVP still, you have a franchise quarterback who's not even getting you to the conference finals.
Well, he's been to the conference finals.
Josh Allen hasn't even been to the conference finals. And done won the division at least, I think, 5 times in a row.
Yeah, they have. He should be getting blamed, but he's not going to get blamed more than the person that has multiple MVPs. And your team.
No, it's not about getting the blame. Bro, he's been there. He has not even been to the conference finals. Do you understand that? Like,
I get it. That's bad. As a franchise quarterback, yes. But I'm not going to hold him to the same standard as someone that's won multiple MVPs.
Why would you? He's won
and have played bad
5 years in a row.
And have played bad in the playoffs. Last year, prime example. Why did the Ravens lose? Lamar played horrible. We talked about
hold on. Why did 2 things? Why did the Bills get bounced on the playoffs 2 years in a row? When they lost, Joe Burrow outplayed them, and Patrick Mahomes outplayed them on his field.
True.
They were both at home. Like, come on, man. Like, when are you going to?
I'm not saying they don't get blamed. All I'm saying is MVPs you held to a higher standard, bro.
MVPs are held to a higher standard. They always held to a higher standard.
But we're trying.
Josh Allen, he's not gonna get that same scrutiny as Lamar Jackson.
And to me, that's BS. Because if you I don't care about the MVP. If you're a franchise quarterback and you that franchise guy, you're that guy. I don't care about the MVPs. And guess what? That's just your personal award. But if you're not getting the franchise over the hump, you should be held to the same standard no matter what MVP or not. Because you're the franchise. You're the guy that they wanted. You're the guy that keep putting them. They said that you were going to get them to the Super Bowl. That trumps all that MVP talk. That's just a personal award that people say, okay, you're the MVP. As a franchise, to me personally, if you're not getting that dude over the hump, if you're not getting that team over the hump, you should be held to the same standard no matter what, MVP or not.
And I get you.
Because you're the franchise.
I get you guys' point. But what I'm just stressing is that at what point do you start putting other guys who's in the same draft category as you? When do you start putting them in the same position as a quarterback like Lamar, who's had a lot of success, but you're blaming his success on the fact he doesn't have a great playoff record. But he don't have a great playoff record either. And his success has been out there. He's won the division 5 times. He's won the division on a weaker division, by the way. And he's won it like 5-6 years in a row. Yeah. And yet he still keeps getting bounced out in the first round. What's the difference?
The home field advantage last year.
Listen, man.
What's the
difference?
No
different. Granted, he's coming up small too. He could get the blame. At the end of the day, bro, you're the MVP and you had your team in position 1-2 seeds the last 3-4 years. I'm just saying, bro, like you're gonna get the blame. Get more of it.
It's also tough because you're the same conference as number 15, and you're in that era.
That's true.
So it's also hard to judge that because you're playing in number 15's conference and it's number 15's league. MVP or no MVP.
That's true.
Same way with Aaron Rodgers.
We gotta let that on top. Go ahead, D.
No, you good.
No, we ain't got on topic. But my thoughts, I thought y'all gonna mention the one dude. He may not be on a under pressure as far as job, but I thought y'all gonna mention Mike Tomlin, bro. Mike Tomlin.
Tomlin too.
Mike Tomlin going in and you've lost 4 games in a row. You at one point was first in the division, on your way to win the division. You start going to the division games, and you done lost 4 straight in a row. Like, I don't know, man.
There's no offense. There's no offense there. That's why your next question, the discussion on the Steelers' chance of Super Bowl run is 0.
Okay, there we go.
Score. Defense is good. The defense do their job. It's the offense that can't get. Russell Wilson can't get it done. Justin Fields can't get it done. George Pickens don't look like he don't want to be playing because he dropped so many balls just last night.
Man, what's up, man? Your thought? What's up with him, man? Like last night was another edition of head case trauma session. Like, what is it? I mean, the fact that he kept dropping all those passes that were hitting his hands. Like,
I'm just glad he would. I already won my fantasy championship the week before. Because if I had to play him this week, I would lose because all those drops he had. So, but I don't understand that. I mean, Frymuth's a good tight end. The second receiver is it depends who the night is with Austin and Mike Williams. But Russell Wilson is very consistent. Here's the thing, Russell Wilson. He throws a little dink and dunk or he throws a deep ball. There's no intermediate. So the defense doesn't have to worry about the intermediate because they don't go there. So all the defense got to worry about the deep ball and they know the screen game coming because there's no in cuts. There are no.
But he did go. Hold on a bit. He did go intermediate last night, and they dropped it.
It's not regular. It's not regular.
He went last night and they dropped it. He a lot of 10 to 15 yard plays. He threw to one Pickens. Even the end of the game. He threw the ball right in the boy's hands and the boy dropped it.
It's not enough on tape. I'm just saying his tendencies. I'm just going by my tendencies.
Okay. That's fair.
So he's not effective in those areas. He's effective going deep, so they're gonna play a lot of 2 deep safeties because Pickens could do that. And then you're about the screen game, the short little 5-yard ding and dunk, but he's not doing the 15, 20-yard intermediate passing game. That's not the Steelers' thing. And it's not Russell Wilson's thing. They don't have a quarterback to do that. So they're not scoring. I mean, if you don't score, you can't win. No matter what the defense does.
That's fair, Ray.
And whose fault is that? I mean, is that Tomlin who required? Tomlin don't shop for the groceries.
Yeah, fact. But at the end of the day, Tomlin got to be held accountable. Like I get it.
He should be held accountable.
18 years of a winning record, I get it. But man, he got to get over the hump. But
you have to have a quarterback in the playoffs. When the last time you had a quarterback? When the last time you had a real quarterback in the playoffs? You lost. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was in his last leg, so you can forget that. Last year, who was his quarterback? Who was the starting quarterback in the playoffs last year? That was
Kenny Pickett, right?
He got let go.
Trubisky. Might have been Trubisky. Pickett got hurt.
Yeah. Well, see, when you get to the playoffs, you have to have a quality quarterback. Tomlin gets credit because he gets his team to the playoffs despite how bad the quarterback play is. But when you get to the playoffs, you get exposed. You have no quarterback. And when you look at the entire playoff roster this year, who has the worst quarterback? I'm looking at the roster. I'm like, let's see. Kansas, we know Kansas City's a good quarterback. Buffalo's a good quarterback. Ravens is a good quarterback. Texans, Stroud, and the Chargers, Herbert. They got the worst quarterback, they probably have the worst quarterback in the conference.
Yeah, but I don't think about it. I think they have a better supporting cast for Russell Wilson than Stroud. The Stroud's supporting cast outside of Nico Collins is non-efficient. Maybe Michi can help, but I think outside them two, that's it.
But he's still Russell's the worst quarterback, and if the Broncos make it in, he's worse than Bo Nix.
You say worse than Bo?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, still got
Bo Nix is rolling. What y'all talking about?
Bo solid, bro. Bo got him playing.
You got the worst quarterback situation. The Steelers had the worst quarterback situation in their conference.
Yeah, Russell is definitely taking a decline. Because we were talking about Russell Magic, like the old Seattle days. He was rolling. But these last 5 games, man, it's been atrocious. So their chances of winning a Super Bowl, man, is 0. I don't see them even winning the first round game. They're going home. Even with an elite defense.
Yeah. And even if you're struggling, Russell's been in the game for a long time, making dumb mental mistakes. Last night, when you have no timeouts, why are you running the ball? No way. Time is more valuable. He's been making bad, dumb, boneheaded decisions the last few weeks. As a veteran, he shouldn't be making those mistakes. That's what makes it worse for me.
I think the problem. I think they got a 0 chance. I think the problem is they can't run the ball. They cannot run the ball consistently to open up that play action for down the field throws. And like JD said, Pickens, he just don't want to be there. I think when they
Yeah,
didn't
he
get him the ball, when they didn't get him the ball early in the game, like the first half, they didn't even look his way. So now he got disinterested in the game, and now when it's time for him to catch the ball, he like whatever. And I think that's a maturity thing that they need to fix, that he needs to fix, or he ain't gonna be in the league long. Because I mean, he's great athletically. He got a lot. He got a lot of capability, but his attitude is messed up. And they knew this coming in when he came from Georgia. And I think that's where if you don't get him in the game, get him involved in the game early, it hurts the team down the road. And I think that's what's been going on. They're not getting him involved early. So if they can't run the ball, it's going to be a problem. Now, the best thing that could have happened to them was they playing Baltimore, depending on how this thing shakes out. They playing Baltimore first because they know each other well and they play the same kind of style, but Baltimore is better. Now, this is where, like Ray said earlier, John Harbaugh can get in trouble because if Pittsburgh goes in and finds a way to beat Baltimore, now that becomes a whole another problem for the Ravens.
Right.
So for Mike Tomlin, it's big for him. I mean, it looks bad right now, but the best situation for him is to play Baltimore.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think they're gonna win Super Bowl, but I do think Tomlin. Like I said, I don't think he's not on his way out the door at all, for sure. But he's under a lot of pressure. You got an aging quarterback, because then here's the problem you got to also figure out. You got to figure out what are you going to do with this quarterback, right? Like, because you got to realize you need a quarterback for the future, or at least a bridge quarterback. I don't think Fields is that. So once you got to figure out what you're going to do with Fields, you also got to figure out what you're going to do with Russell Wilson in that contract. How much you're going to willing to offer him next year to bring him back. That's going to be a situation. You got to think about what you're going to do with Pickens. I think they're going to trade Pickens. I just don't see. I mean, the dude is. I mean, he's kind of been off like he kind of been. From what I read, I mean, he came out of Hoover, went to Hoover High. I don't know where all these emotional issues come from, and all the other different things. But for what I've learned over the last, I guess, 48 hours, it wasn't that big of an issue when he was at Hoover. So when he got to Georgia, it kind of came out of nowhere. But they had the red flags him coming out of Georgia. That's why he was drafted. So I think in the second or third round. So you got to figure out, is he your number one receiver, right? And now you got to go back out into the market to look for another number one. So you got a lot of transitioning you're going to happen. And then you got to strip up on the back, and you need another corner on the other side, man, because that's been a problem. When you're matched up against some of the best players, you've had issues keeping them in front of you because of that. So, and if you can't, if TJ ain't getting there and Highsmith ain't getting there, it's a long night, right? And that's what happened last night. The Bengals neutralized them. This stop where they neutralized them. They couldn't be disrupted, make the plays, and get to Joe Burrow enough that you got to him to win the game, but not enough to stay in the game, not enough to win it. So, yeah, man, he's got some tough things going. Tough slave for Mike. You know what I mean? I like Mike Tomlin, man. He gives a lot of good nuggets. That show on I say Max, HBO, but on Max, when they go through the NFL in season, it's been top notch. I love it, right? And he give you the nuggets, the way he talks to him, the way he addresses people. You got to have a lot of respect for him. But man, just I'm just wondering, this is starting to come to an end as far as what can he really do to get this organization to the next level, right? So I think there's a lot of pressure on him. So on that aspect, and I don't think they're gonna win the Super Bowl at all. All right, last topic before we get up out of here, so we go do our NFL pick'ems. Aaron Rodgers, is it? Will we see? Is today the last game Aaron Rodgers will play in the NFL?
No.
No? Okay, why no?
Because there's some quarterback star teams going to take a chance on him. And he's looked better the last few weeks. You remember he came off of an Achilles injury, which is also tough. We saw what happened to Kirk Cousins. And that was tough. And it takes about a year to get through that. So, but Aaron has played better the last few weeks. But do you want to deal with his attitude? But we get a quarterback star of league. He could go to Tennessee. Tennessee might take him for a year.
Okay.
Just saying.
Yeah, I agree with Greg. I don't think it's his last hoorah. It may be done with the Jets because I think the Jets just want that reset. Aaron Rodgers, you bring him in, he's pretty much the CEO of your team. Everything he wanted, he got. I think the Jets are probably tired of it now. I think they're going to move on, but he will be playing on somebody's team next year. Like I said, maybe one of those situations where he's a bridge quarterback, somebody after a young, talented quarterback maybe need to sit a little bit, but I think he'll be playing one more year, especially if he don't break the record. When you get the 500 touchdowns, if he don't get it this year, I think he definitely play next year to get it, just to be in an elite club.
Yeah, I think he played one more year. I think, it's hard. It's hard to pick him up because you're going to have to pay him a little bit of cash. But I think, like you said, some desperate team out there gonna be like, you know what? I can do it for 6 months. I can do it for 6 months. I mean, once the season started over there, I'll do it for like 6 months to see if he can get us over the hump. And don't be surprised, it might be Pittsburgh.
That too. Pittsburgh was. So good luck.
Depending on the situation.
Well, Aaron Rodgers won't be able to do what he want to do with Mike Tomlin. That'll be fun to watch.
Facts.
Yeah. So I mean, outside of that'll be a good. Who else you gonna get? I mean, you got talented receivers there. You got to hopefully can get your offensive line straight to get your running game back. But I mean, I think he's gonna play again. It's just somebody's just gonna take a chance on him. Like, look, let's just do it for 1 year. Somebody who's bringing in a new quarterback, need to break him in, and then go from there. But I think he plays one more year.
I think he's done. I think this is it. I think he's gonna go through the season. Nobody's gonna really want. He's not gonna have a lot of traction. If he can't get back if they don't bring him back to the New York Jets, this is it. This is the last we see of Aaron Rodgers currently, as is the quarterback that we've been seeing. Because I just don't think physically has it. He looks like he doesn't bounce back the same after games, and it's been a struggle. And like you just said, man, he rushes Achilles. He did it at 41. So now he'd be like 42, 43. I don't see how can you come back with the same rigorous logic that you would before. It's a lot. You made a ton of money. You have 4 MVPs. You're gonna walk by your first ballot Hall of Famer, and every game, really honestly, that he keeps losing, keeps looking bad losing, it's killing his legacy. So I just don't see it coming back, man. I think it's done. I think he's done. As of the A-Rod, we need to start calling back Aaron Rodgers. He needs no longer the A-Rod. He's no longer he's none of that. He's Aaron Rodgers. And that's just the end of it for me. For me, that's how I think. All right, man, let's get to it. Ray, you know what to do?
Let's do it.
All right, man, this is short-lived. We only got 2 teams on the docket today that we really deem as pick'em type games. All right, Seahawks versus Rams. G, who you got, man?
I got the Rams because they want to keep the 3 seed. You keep the 3 seed. You play the Commanders, a rookie quarterback. If you get the 4 seed, you lose. You got to host the Vikings or Lions loser. So they'll be motivated to host the rookie quarterback. Rams.
I think Gino has a lot of money on the line. I got Seattle. Going into Los Angeles, baby.
I'm going with Seattle.
I got the Rams. Like I'm with G. I think they got a lot on the line. I think they still got a lot to play for. So I got them winning. All right, biggest game on the docket tonight. Decide between first place or 5th place. So whoever wins, stay at home. First place throughout the playoffs. Whoever loses, go to 5th place. Just want to remind everybody that the Lions have beaten the Vikings before. So it's a very interesting place that they have won, and they've won in the last second in Minnesota. G, start us off again.
Lions start the march to the Super Bowl tonight. They're going to
win. March to the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, too much Jared Goff, man. I think he throws over 350. Lions.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a curve. Give me Minnesota. Give me Minnesota in a close one. Field goal.
A curveball, bro.
Give me Minnesota.
All right, for me, give me the Lions. I just like what they're doing. I think he's going to exhaust all the strings. As much as everybody's been really loving the quarterback, I think he's going to give you 2 or 3 plays the Lions can make. And I like the safety, Joseph. He's a ball hawk. I think he's going to make a couple plays in this game. Him and Brian Branch are going to make two of the most critical plays and get the win. And it's part of my parlay, so I need them to do what they need to do. So
there's always some motivation. There's also some incentive.
Yeah, they do that.
Remember, everyone questioned why the Lions drafted Jameer Gibbs at 12. When they picked him at 12, I didn't question it at all. I said this is a genius pick because of what he brings to the field.
I think a lot of people didn't realize how good he really is going to be.
Well, I knew he was in college how good he was. I say, once he get to the pros and when he gets unleashed.
Well, it's because let's be transparent. Bill Ryan did not unleash him in college. That was the problem. We were all annoyed by that, watching how they played with him that season, because they could have won a couple more games if they would have unleashed him a little bit more during the season with him, because he was just absolutely a monster at Bama. I think he had like 900 some yards, but I don't think he had a lot of carries. He averaged like almost 10 yards a carry. So, yep. All right, yeah, man. But yeah, so that's what got Gibbs. Knowing you're gonna have to feed him more, this is gonna be a good game for him. But I like I think the key is gonna be is Williams. Can you keep that speed in front of you?
Yep.
Right, like that's gonna be the problem. Can you keep Williams?
Williams got his bright mind right now. So Williams, when his mind is right, you know.
Yeah, he definitely acts like a kid sometimes. He definitely acts like a kid.
His mind is right now. So
they
stay on. That's a good thing. Get out of veterans on the team who encourages them and keep them accountable. So
yep. So if Williams does what he does, man, I like the chances. I do like the chances. All right, man. Any other talk before we get up out of here?
Wait for the Saints to lose. I just want the Saints to lose.
Let's talk about the Saints real quickly. Like, how do you guys? I mean, what do you think you're going? What are you looking for next season? Because your season starts today. Next season starts today for y'all. So, what are y'all looking for?
My
coaching.
Dream was
let's go coaching, and then
I want to get rid of the GM. I want to get rid of the GM and get a new head coach. We need to reset the culture. The culture needs to be whole reset.
I don't think you're going to get rid of that GM though, man.
I know you got to reset the whole culture. I mean, there's no culture there. Zero culture. I mean, when Dennis Allen was there, they didn't follow that dude. They didn't listen to that fool. And it really started last year, but it really came to a head when how he treated Jameis Winston. Like when Jameis got hurt, and when Derek Carr got hurt, he didn't want to play Jameis. He wanted to keep playing Derek Carr. Because if Jameis got in and started playing well, he knew Jameis would had to play because of the fans. And I'm glad that this year, that the owner, Mrs. B, decided to fire Dennis Allen. This was not a call by Loomis. So I need Mrs. B to step up and tell Loomis to go upstairs and bring in new life. Gotta get a new culture. So thank you, Mrs. B, for recognizing the whole world saying what we've been saying, that Dennis Allen, no one's gonna follow that dude. No one follow that dude.
Yeah, he's not a good coach. No, he doesn't galvanate the troops at all. Yeah. So, but if you do get a new head coach, give me some candidates that you would like to see there.
I mean, I guess Aaron Glenn is on the top of the list, but they're talking about Mike Nagy. We don't want that.
I'm about to ask you that. I just saw that today. They say that Mike Nagy is top on the list.
And I'm not. And the only reason why Gruden's on the list because of his relationship with Carr. He get the best out of Carr. If you keep Carr, you got to bring in someone who brings out the best out of Carr, because his salary cap number is astronomical. The best time to get rid of Carr is now, because you clear out to 2026. You keep him, your 2026 is going to be screwed. So the Saints got to make some decisions on that.
I got a GM you can come get. He's gonna be ready. He'll be ready for you at the end of the season.
Who, Terry Fontenot?
You already know it. You already know it. We can make it a package. We'll see you, him, and Kirk Cousins.
We didn't want no Kirk Cousins. The decision now was to pick Kirk Cousins. Was that Rich McVay or was that Terry Fontenot?
I think that was Terry, bro. I think that had to be Terry. I think that's been the issue. The problem is I don't know who the decision was to draft a quarterback. Because whoever decision to go after Kirk Cousins, because we ended up losing a draft pick for Terry. Whoever decision that was, that's the person who needs to get fired. That's the person got to go. That you can't get over that. I'm already over Raheem Morris not calling that timeout I still ain't over that. Right? I wasn't over that part. But
I don't know what he was. I don't know what he was. I was sitting there like, man, he gonna call a timeout. And they gonna
32 seconds up, and you got still Mooney still on his back. Yeah, Mooney is still on his back trying to get up and run the line.
And it's not like Koo is kicking the ball. Koo, if it was Koo is your kicker, then okay, he can make a 58-yarder.
It didn't make sense, man. You had a new field goal kicker, and you didn't think, and you said like, I thought the operation could have moved. What are you talking about? like you just made a bad move, bro. It should have just ate it. I said, yeah, we didn't.
Because I knew, I was like, yeah, these dudes about to win this game in regulation, and now we got to play Dallas to get in the playoffs. I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be tough on next Sunday. I just knew. I was like, yeah, it's about to be over. We got to play next Sunday. Now the pressure really on us to get in the playoffs. Like, man.
But Raymond's boy about to get his chance today. He's gonna start today. Raymond's boy, Trey Lance.
Who?
Trey Lance to start today. That's Raymond boy.
You never know. Trey might show you something.
So, but go back to it. So, as you said, this is a GM. You like a new GM.
I want
the head coach.
I want a new head coach.
Who would you want as your quarterback? You want Carr back?
Who's the alternative?
Move on.
What pick do you have in the first round?
10. I mean, we're not 10.
I mean, I
don't know who can
QB draft. I mean, there's some free agents you possibly can get. But I think Carr will be back. I think they're going.
You gonna bring Justin Fields?
I mean, I have no problem with Fields. You just got to cater to. You got to put him in a position to win. I'm not asking Justin Fields to go out and throw me 300 yards. I'm not going to be the reason you win or lose a game. Just don't turn the ball over, run efficiently. He got to have pieces around him, right? Like the kid is athletic. He's dynamic. You just got to put the right system in his place and give him something to grow. But for me, I'm taking Loomis authority from a player personnel away. Jeff Ireland has, been solid as a GM because that's the GM is. You have to get depth. Like we had a show probably weeks ago when they were talking about the Devontae Adams. Do we go trade for him? I said, bro, when we lose Olave, we're done. We got no receiver depth. Then you lose Olave, bro. You got Pettis. Pettis been off the scrap heap from Boise State forever.
And MVS.
Like you got him off the scrap heap. Like you just need. And I think that's what we're lacking. If someone go down, we have no alternative. Even on no depth. Like we just got to build and tear it down and just build that shit up, bro. And that's what the Saints, I think, will not want to do because they're afraid of having 3-4 years of bad football. And we've been having that since Champagne left. Like just tear it down, dog, and go through the struggle. And head coaches, we got a short list.
I mean, the Broncos went through a $60 million tear down, $60 million salary cap mess with Mr. Wilson, but they got the quarterback. That's the thing.
That's all you got.
We don't have the quarterback here to do that.
Man, it's not a QB draft this year unless you just got to evaluate a talent. You might find something in the late rounds, but even then, they're not letting kids play like that, like them third rounds, unless he just shining. But man, tear that shit down, bro. Like tie this shit, dog.
Tear it down.
Finding these seasons is like cutting it.
Look at the Rams. They're in the same situation too. But look at the Rams. Their whole defense is a bunch of young kids running and flying around, making plays.
Listen, y'all got to. I agree. You gotta tear it down. You know what I mean? But Terry help you out. He gonna bring back there next year. He can help you out from there.
Our defense is so at every level. At every level, we're slow. We're slow in defensive line because Cam Jordan's old. We're slow in linebacker because Demario Davis is old. And the back end is Honey Badger. He's old. He's slower. So it's like you can't have all that on those levels. And then I don't care about this about Pete Warner. I rather look. I always talk about how you develop and deploy your players. The Saints drafted Caden Ellis, and the Saints drafted Zach Bond. They didn't develop him. Look what they did was Caden Ellis and the Falcons. He's a pass rusher. Couldn't they use him as a pass rusher for the Saints? No, we couldn't use him. And then Zach Bond doing all the kind. He's a Pro Bowl. But we drafted these players. It's about developing them. We should have Ellis and Bond on our team, but no, the Saints didn't develop them.
Well, you can have him back. Good.
Well, you don't want Caden Ellis no more?
He's been all right, bro. He's been okay. He's been a bright spot. but there's some guys that haven't been a bright spot, so we'll see. But listen, I just want to hear what you guys thought about it because I mean, you're gonna be looking for new leadership very soon. And I know that you're a proud organization, proud franchise. Hasn't really done much outside of the championship, but who can say?
3 championships it wasn't for Sean Payton's arrogance.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, so at this point, man, listen, we all got to figure it out. We're trying to figure out the division. Not everybody's great, so a lot of average teams in our division, so we all trying to figure it out. So, any other thoughts moving forward?
No, but
Don, do you have anything you want to talk about with your
Falcons
got
Phoenix though, so they got future there.
Yeah, we do. I'm happy. We got talent at every position: quarterback, running back, receivers. They're gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do with Pitts. Do you offer him the same contract next year? The extension? Do you extend them? Now that's gonna be one of the critical things. I think with the quarterback, you may want to keep him there because I think they look like they had a good synergy, especially on that drive. He's been very underutilized. I personally think that all the time when I watch him, like, bro, they underutilize him. So, and I think no OC's really focused on. So maybe Dirk Cutter his first year when he had 1,000 yards was just focused on really giving him the ball, put him out there, flanking him out, and using that speed. Now sometimes he does run a little slow in my mind. I'm like, man, is he moving or not? But he is a matchup nightmare if he's engaged and he's going in the game. So, and you dropped on the 4 picks, you got to figure it out.
Figure it out.
You got to figure it out with a guy like that because you really need to start putting more resources in defense. I don't want to see D. Alfred there next year. Not in the slot at all. I mean, I've never seen somebody. I mean, the way he missed Jaden Daniels on when he had right there, like I mean, I didn't even make sense. And then we need to. I think our linebackers. I think I like 53. He's good. He's better blitzing. He's better when he rushes the quarterback. But I think it's Anderson's 40. He's got to go. We need more thumpers when it comes to there that can read the play. And then, we got to figure out what you do with Simmons. He's only a 1-year deal. Bates, they signed him. But Simmons is on a 1-year deal. Are you going to bring Simmons back? Give maybe a couple of years, maybe another year deal. He's probably going to want more. I mean, it's just really about how they want to balance this team out. I think on the back end, they're pretty good, but they need a pass rusher. What are you going to do with Judon? Right? Like, that's another one. Like, Judon's up in the air. He shows some promise. So I don't know why they have him in coverage ever. Like, I don't get it. Like, I watch the game and get the Commanders. I'm like, why is he covering somebody? Like I don't get it. So that's another thing. Jimmy Lake. He got to go. He's got to go. Jimmy Lake, man. Like, Jimmy Lake, that must be Raheem Morris's homeboy because he just be out there making defensive calls. I don't even understand him. And then we get to Raheem Morris. Get you a clock manager, brother, because you ain't gonna be employed long. This is your 3rd team. You're an interim coach for the Falcons before, and a lot of people are already complaining. They wish they would have got Belichick because we would have won the game. Now Belichick would have probably messed up everything else as far as personnel and they
wouldn't lose on the field.
But losing on the field, not like that. He would have called timeout. So, and that was critical. That was a critical play. That was a critical play not to call that timeout.
And now you depend on the Saints. Now you depend on the Saints.
And now we didn't get the ball. Yeah, we can play on the Saints. Who's the quarterback this game?
Rattler. Rattler's quarterback.
Oh yeah. God Jesus. Y'all ain't winning. That dude, man. I don't know what's going on with that dude. I thought he was gonna be all right coming out of South Carolina. South Carolina.
He has no receivers.
He ain't working with nothing, dog. He has the arm talent, but every pass is a fastball. Like, it's just the maturation as a quarterback, bro. It just takes time, man. Like, it takes time. It's not easy.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, Yo, man, it was a pleasure. Another Brother podcast. We happy to have our guest here, Professor Lee was in the building. We appreciate you, brother, for jumping in and gracing us with your presence.
Sir.
All right. Yes, sir. All right, fellas.
All right, Ray, take us out of here.
Yep.